Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Contact here out of turn 4.
Tries to slam the door, but they sends him right back up the racetrack.
Big moment for Bodie between him and Dexter. It's Ryan Kuhn yet again out of turn number 4. He's going to win for a second time in the Misfit Touring Series. And it's all about Christian Peterson out front. 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 4 times he's finished runner-up. But tonight, it's the first time win here in the Touring Series.
Christian Peterson, after 17 races, finally gets it done.
Tonight, the transition is on to Southern National as the top drivers in the Misfit Touring Series get ready to do battle once again. Season 3 continues with its 9th round of the season here on V-Speed. Tonight's action once again presented by RaceMRL.com. I'm Justin Prince alongside me, Scott Scheib, for tonight's coverage as we get all set to go. Morgan Cook is our producer, using cameras by the great Dougie Beer. Tonight, we return to action at Southern National after a wild card race. 11 cautions when we went over to LA Coliseum last time out, but today's a different twist. High banking, low to the bottom of the racetrack, should say. And Scott, that means these drivers likely going to be fighting to get to the bottom.
They absolutely will, JP. It's a pleasure to be back with you. We missed you last week at the LA Coliseum. It was quite a wild card, and it was quite fun. 17 degrees of banking in the turns here at Southern National in Lucama, North Carolina. Just a 0.4 of a mile oval, opened in 1993. This is absolutely one of my favorite tracks on iRacing, and like you said, it is a bottom dominant groove track. Drivers will be fighting to get to the bottom. It is so important that you get your left sides right above the apron. It wraps you around the corner. You and I will get to talk all night long about what these drivers will be doing behind the wheel. Let's jump over to the points standings. For the first time this season, Kyle Terzak has taken the lead, now above Christian Peterson, who held it for just 1 week. But Peterson has not won in over 4 races. Peterson and Terzak being the only 2 winners so far in this 8-race season. Now, number 9, we hit tonight. Jake Grout sits in 3rd, then it's Christopher Shepard and Brandon Atkins, your top 5, and other drivers trying to tussle it out and make moves. Biggest movers right now, I believe, is still Radley Music, trying to break into the top 10. He's currently 12th, and he is a little bit below Ethan Wolf, who we haven't seen in a couple races. But we've got some great handy drivers in here this evening, 15 of them ready to take the green. And I think our biggest storyline of the night, JP, is that Kyle Terzak was not the fastest in practice, and he is not the fastest in qualifying right now.
Yeah, interesting to say the very least on the speed charts, but it is close, we'll say that. We'll say this season, we're into the home stretch. You have a lot of different tracks coming up here in the schedule, Scott. Rowendale is going to be interesting. Of course, the Dash for Cash race at Bristol. But one of the other races to keep an eye on in the later portion is one of those Triple Crown races at Richmond, which will be the penultimate race when we zip into March. A lot of tracks where, quite simply, you better find the bottom.
You have got to find the bottom. In Richmond, it's going to be quite a test for some of these drivers within the late model. Obviously, one of the longest tracks we'll go to all season, it and Bristol. And both have some money on the line, because when we go to Bristol, it'll be the Dash for Cash, like you said. And obviously at Richmond, we will be able to crown a Triple Crown Showdown champion. And then not 1 week later, we will be able to crown the Season 3 champion of the Misfit Touring Series. And right now, it's looking to be a 3rd different driver in a row in history. No driver has ever repeated. And Christian Peterson, the only one in the mix that could do that so far. But I don't know. He's going to have to go out there and win because, like I said, JP, it's been a while since Peterson has gotten a win. Right now, he is fastest on the timing charts, but of course, we will have the invert. So right now, if it stays like it is, which it will, time coming to a close in qualifying, Peterson will start back in 6th after the invert, but something to say about him being fastest in qualifying.
Yeah, it really shows he's got the short run pace. He'll start 6th for today. Aiden Millette started 5th position as a result of the invert. He was only about 12 1,000ths off the pole time. Kyle Terzak going to be interesting to watch for. Will start 4th today alongside Brandon Elvis, who looks to stay in the building. Then on the front row today, Dylan Delaney's 88 car will start to the outside, and Riley Music in a pink machine in Sim will start 6th as the pole sitter with the invert. The driver who led practice was Christopher Shepard. Keep an eye on him in the race. He'll start 7th overall with Jake Grout in the 8th position. Rounding out row 5, your top 10, Jake Sylvia and Brandon Atkinson going to have to make up some ground here tonight, Scott.
Behind them in row number 6, it'll be the 12 of Jace Hale and the 74 of Michael Weisman, your Summer Series champion from Season 1 of the Summer Series. And Greggy Long in the 38 will start 13th alongside to his outside Landon Atkins in the number 11. Rounding out your now 16-car field will be the 71 of Thomas Dean, and Dustin Smith joined just in time to make the race, but not enough time to put down a qualifying lap. So that 33 will start shotgun on the field. Well, let's start talking about it, JP. I think the biggest thing tonight is that Terzak is not fastest in practice or qualifying. Now, he's got plenty of time throughout this race to show up and show out like he always does. He's looking for number 5 in a row and number 7 this season, trying to break a series record that he set last season of 10 wins in one season, but he's got some figuring out to do without this run.
It's going to be a true test on the long run in particular here today. Can he find his way to the front? Can he pull away like he's done so many times this season? But as we get set to go, all cars have made the racetrack except for Dustin M. Smith. As they set up the invert here, let's talk about the situation for the analysis for tonight. Remember, 120 laps going to be your distance, Scott, and these drivers will have to battle it out with no tire sets available with their open setups. Tire conservation always a critical part of these races, and again, going to be a big part of tonight with the distance going up to 120.
It is going to be really important tonight to take care of the right front. You're heavy on the brakes here at Southern National, and with how tight these turns are, with the amount of banking, it is going to be really easy to burn up a right front. That's something that these drivers are really going to have to be looking out for this evening, is really woeing up those corners, letting off a little earlier, going a little easier on the brakes to conserve that tire, because you only have one set. If you come in and you get a setter, if you blow tires, you will be DQ'd from the race. So there's no coming in and getting any extra. If you come in for tires and you take them, you will be disqualified. So you've got to make it last with what you got. Riley Music up front, he's going to be a hard one to pass starting off.
Especially since he's looked pretty solid when he's gotten in track position from the invert. It's the matter, though, on maintaining long run. We're happy to have you with us here on V-Speed. Tonight's coverage of the Misfit Touring Series, as the drivers will peel down for the start this time through. Pace car drops off the bank in a 4. Green flag is out. We're underway once again from Southern National.
Music looks to clear himself off too, and he will. Dylan Delaney tries to hang on the outside. Music doesn't quite close the door, but he will this time out of 4. Riley Music will lead lap 1. Here comes Brandon Elvis looking to the inside, trying to hang Dylan Delaney out there.
Talked about with the 17 degrees of banking, you're going to wrap the inside line, and for Delaney, no hole to be able to dive on down. Millette now dives his way in for the battle for 4th, nearly spins it out. And some of these drivers already on edge, off corner exit, trying to rotate the car to make sure they clear, like Millette just slammed the door for.
Millette got the apron down through the center of 3 and 4, and it pushed him tight up wide. Luckily, he was barely clear of Delaney, and it didn't cause a bigger incident, but Delaney continues to drop back. Now he's back behind Peterson in 6th. He started 2nd. Now he's in position maybe to fall to 7th. Christopher Shepard in the purple and orange 19 to his inside, but Delaney really pushing. This is where you get so frustrated as a driver. Now he's going to clear himself. He will settle into 6th, and he needs to conserve, because those right side tires will not be happy with how hot they are. Battle for 2nd is on.
Kyle Terzak's been diving to the inside a couple times over here, Scott, and we know he is on a streak. 6 starts, 6 victories. He has been untouchable on long runs just about every single week. Now, already up to 2nd. He looked pretty solid when you break down the laps in practice on some of his longer runs that he put in the session. We're seeing that here. Shepard also on the move.
Christopher Shepard looking to move forward in that number 19. now up 3 spots from the start of this race. Actually down now. He dropped a couple spots, got stuck on the outside, so excuse me on that one. Greggy Long and Landon Atkins have started to move forward for themselves. They are back in the pack, and they need some time to start moving forward. Bradley Music continues to command this field from out front, and that is absolutely the best place you want to be at this point, because you get to control the pace of this race, JP.
And control how hard your tires end up wearing as a result. Right now, we're in the 15.6s at the front of the field. Vast majority of the pack staying in those times. That's going to be critical to be able to save tires. So it becomes a question here, Scott, on making sure you conserve here. What are you doing in terms of that lifting, so to speak, to back up these corners to the point where you don't leave the bottom open like the 15's been chopping away at?
Yeah, you definitely want to let off early. I always found it's a little bit difficult here because in Southern National, if you're ever running officials, this track almost always consistently ran at nighttime, and there's actually a shadow with how the light works that I actually use as my braking meter, but a lot of drivers as well use their audios. But you just want to let up a little early. Millette, you can see him entering high over Brandon Elvis, cuts down low to get a great run out of the corner. It's going to give him great momentum. Now the ability to look to the inside of the 54 of Elvis. He'll go right on around, not yet clear. He wiggled loose out of the 4, and that might move Brandon Elvis back up, but he did not have enough time to close it down. And we watch along with this. The battle is on for the lead once again. It looks like Terzak's trying the same thing Millette was doing. Now he gets that run to the inside. He's going for the lead.
Trying to go for the point already. Here comes Terzak on the inside. Clearance, Music lets him have it, and to the lead goes Terzak. Hold on, look at the crossover. Used the bank into his advantage and took away the bottom, door to door.
Watch Terzak pinch him down through the center, 1 and 2 there. Does not want to allow Music to get the run here. Music gonna shift it up high, makes contact with the door of the 15, already making contact early into the race. They're gonna fight hard for this one. Music doesn't want to let the 15 go. It looks like Terzak will be able to solidify it this time into 3.
It was about to say, we've seen a bit of physical. Oh, trouble, back straight away. 38 is around. Greggy Long backs up on the racetrack. Caution flag waves, and our first yellow flag. He was one of the drivers that was in the saving pack.
Yeah, Greggy Long running a little bit farther back, and it looks like he just got loose all on his own. We'll watch it this time through 1 and 2, just trying to conserve, and looks like he got on the gas just a little bit too early. Didn't touch with the apron or anything. Looks like no contact with the inside wall. Maybe just a little tap right there, but no damage for the 38. But that is going to hurt his tire wear overall throughout this race. But good shot for Greggy Long to go ahead and get it locked down. Didn't make contact with anyone else or the wall. But it does bring us under our first caution for the day. These drivers should already be able to make it on fuel, so the only reason we should see drivers coming into the pit lane is if there's any damage. But these drivers have been good and clean so far, JP.
Fairly respectable racing so far. Everyone trying to rip away the bottom, but that's to be expected with the way these types of races go. But now it's the matter of what can you do to be able to set yourself up for true success is the key thing. Or then try and just dive bomb to the inside, because eventually someone's going to get spun like that with IRP.
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing for me is obviously Terzak and Millette going for positions early. You're entering that high line, trying to cut back down. It's obviously going to wear your right front just a little bit more, not obviously too aggressively. Now, if you were trying that lap after lap after lap after lap, it would obviously wear to a point. But I don't know. At this point in the race, I'm thinking about riding. I'm just thinking about trying to at least keep within a reasonable amount of track position from where I qualified, maybe lose 2 or 3 spots to, you know, obviously gain them back later. But this whole pack seems to be in agreement right now for the most part. No one's pushing too hard. I would say your biggest aggressors are probably Terzak and Millette at this point.
Already coming up to the restart. Green, 97 laps to go. Terzak shows the outside. Immediately cuts on down with the pass. Now the battle is on for everybody else. Keep an eye on Peterson in particular. He is currently scored in the top 6. He is amongst those diving to the bottom of the 88 in Delaney.
After having qualified first and being number 6 in the invert, that is the position he has remained so far in this race. A lot of drivers getting loose out of turns 2 and turns 4. Very easy to push those right rears just a little early. Dylan Delaney, one of those drivers trying to push. He is hung out on the outside once again. Now this time he's back with Millette in the number 9. It's a great run out of turn 2, but it's not going to be enough to maybe hold off the number 9. And there's not a hole behind him as they're too wide and they make contact off the wall.
And that was a little bit of a squeeze, in fact, for the ghost scheme for Delaney. Now teammates alongside. Atkinson forced up to the high side with the box in. Interestingly enough, though, not losing too much ground. Atkinson doing a solid job on the pickup, though. If he can clear somehow for the high side, that could be a +4, +5 on the day for the 9.
Millette doing a great job so far, but Dylan Delaney looked to have held him down. So he does get in front, and woo, it is going to get tight as Jake Sylvia makes it nearly 3 wide with Brandon Atkinson up on the top. Christian Peterson in the middle, now back to 2 by 2. Millette is being attacked from the outside. Look at this, contact from Brandon Atkinson.
Yeah, everyone getting a little bit physical, but Atkinson is the first driver interested enough to make the outside work, really. Outside of Turzak defensively. How difficult is that on the tires, though, to be able to make this work on the high side? Music's trying to do the same thing.
It is definitely tougher. You're in the gas, obviously, a lot longer, and so you're going to wear those right sides. For Millette, I don't hate this. I think he's playing it a little bit more conservatively. I don't want to lose too many spots, though. This will be number 3 if Peterson is able to get by. As you can see him skating out of turn 2. That's another spot lost for the 71. And now Jake Sylvia is looking high this time. Still going to hang a quarter there. And woohoo! Millette thought he was clear for a moment. Now he's going to try to push Sylvia wide. He's already lost 3 spots. He doesn't want to lose 4.
Yeah, I want to be careful here with these passing chances. Crossover. No contact! He got him in the door. Sylvia hooks up, and the caution is out.
Caution is out, and I think it's for an incident farther back in the field. So just unfortunate timing for the 2 we were watching along with. It looked like Jace Hale and Michael Wiseman into it down into turn 1. Looks like a miscommunication of braking points here between these 2. You see Michael Wiseman entering high, staying high, trying to carry momentum down here. It looked like Hale, I don't know if he shifted out of gear, or it looked like he was clearly aiming up higher up the track, but he was off the gas way early into turn 1. I don't think Wiseman could have known at all that that was going to happen.
No whatsoever, and that destroys him as a result. Obviously, very physical on the battle going on. Millette significantly damaged. Here's the look at the cause of caution after hookup, as you said. Right there on the checkup.
Just a weird set of circumstances. Obviously, Hale, I mean, he was solo right there. There was no one who was inside, no one who was outside. Could have easily entered at the bottom of the track and run the normal race line, but obviously he was looking high, maybe to that second groove. I don't know if that was a line he was trying to run, maybe trying to work in the second groove in some form or fashion, but obviously not what Wiseman behind him was expecting. Let's talk about as well that incident between the 9 of Aiden Millette and the 1 of Jake Sylvia, because it was getting quite physical between them, and we saw them nearly wreck into turn 1 right before that incident happened.
Yeah, it looked like, at least to me, that there was the contact with Sylvia to the fender, destroying the front nose of Sylvia's car, and destroying the front nose of Millette's car, also on the left side. Both of them going to be hampered with issues the rest of the way as we come up to the restart. Turzak in control, green flag is out, back and away. This time, Music able to keep it to the inside, and we have arguments behind them. Delaney's up the groove.
It was a big checkup for Delaney, might have missed a shift, but something was slow on his end of the matter. That checked up Peterson, then the others had to try to avoid high in turn 1. Look at this, Atkinson trying to line up now on the bottom with Brandon Elvis and hold Christian Peterson out wide.
Yeah, and Atkinson's having a solid race so far, you can argue. Picking up spot after spot, 6 positions gained so far. Was one of the drivers who looked pretty solid in practice as well. And we're seeing that crossover here How much of that is driver? How much of that is setup? Because remember, him and Peterson likely on a similar base.
Very much on a similar base. At this point, it's really going to be about the driver. Obviously, Peterson, whoa, he is wicked loose. Those rear tires have got to be upset with him, heating them up each time he gets slideways like that. Might need to give this up and find himself a hole. You would hope his teammate would maybe cut him a break, but it doesn't look like that's what's happening at this point. This might be the hole that Peterson might need. It's not going to present itself at a 2 that time. He's going to have to hang to the outside because Sylvia is laying in wait to hold him out there.
Already, interesting enough, Dustin M. Smith even is shouting, hey, let's keep it clean, everybody. He's not even on the racetrack. So pretty much everyone's attention is making sure no contact. Sylvia trying to avoid it here, and we know Sylvia has speed in his car. He's had some solid races here. How much is going to be hampered with that crushed front nose, though? On both the left and right front, it's crushed.
Well, I reminded everyone last week at the LA Coliseum in his first race back for Season 3, he is the Season 1 champion, and he won 8 times that season in Season 1. He's been busier a little bit the past 2 seasons, has made starts here and there, but he is not someone to be trifled with, as Aiden Millett learned. Millett was a little rough with him, and I think Sylvia was equally rough in giving it back to him. Now, Sylvia does have that right front damage because of it, trying to save Aiden Millett and not give himself an automatic EOL for causing an incident. That does not mean that the 118 of Sylvia is going to back down. Currently in a decent position in 6th as of this moment, but laps are ticking off. We're going to have only 71 to go next time by.
One of the drivers I've seen try to get a little bit scrappy is Atkins. Atkins up 5 so far. He's been doing a solid job using the outside, but look at that. He is burning up his rear tires here.
It's very easy to do that early. Just push it off the rear, especially all these drivers that are trying to make the outside groove work. And Atkins had a problem with that last week at the LA Coliseum. Just a younger driver trying to learn his way, trying to learn some racecraft. And hey, I love a driver coming in and trying to learn everything he can. This is a great group to come and drive with and to come and learn with, because there are some excellent iRacing late model drivers always in this field, no matter how many there are. And it's great to get to see all these drivers watching out here and racing.
All this as well, as you would expect with the trends. Cherzak continues to do Cherzak things. He's pulling away now by almost a second. 3/10 up, 3/4 of a second, in fact, up so far. He's looking very smooth. Isn't going directly to the very bottom of the racetrack, leaving about a 1/10 of a space right now from the bottom seal. But he's still making it work for the long run pace. 14.8 as we settle in 4/10 fall off.
This place, it'll slowly do it to you. I'm telling you, I've said it before tonight, and I've said it for a reason. That right front, very important to take care of. Looking back with the teammates, currently running 4th and 5th so far. 15 and that number 71 of Christian Peterson. Peterson, he has got to change up the story of this race, because if he keeps letting Cherzak finish in front of him, he will have no bid on the championship. Obviously, it's 70 points back right now, but you can pay out a lot of big points per races. It sounds like a big deficit. It's really not as big as you might think, but Peterson looks like he's really fighting this car. He's loose out of every corner, it looks like.
Yeah, a couple of drivers are noticing are having to adjust the steering wheel right there with the throttle. At this point, how do you balance that out now to make sure you don't destroy the right rear? Because as we've seen all season, Scott, right rear tires seem to pop first.
They do, and you just have to be easier out of the corner. It's all about throttle control. It's really easy with all this banking to be forced into a false confidence scenario as we ride along with Jake Grout currently, who is in 8th position. Now he's attacking that 88 of Dylan Delaney, the 49. As we know, he's become really more of a slow and methodical driver. In seasons 1 and 2, we explained him as the man of aggression, the man absolutely on a mission and was going to give you absolutely no quarter. But in season 3, it's been a very different story for this 49. It's been a consistent story for him, and it's put him 3rd place in the championship fight overall, and he's finished top 5 in every single race this season. It's a very different Jake Grout we're seeing this season, and it's one of his best fights so far.
Remember, one of the championship contenders as we just passed the halfway point, under 60 laps to go. A little bit of contact actually pushed up the track into Delaney. Delaney does still give a little bit of space. But we'll say, remember, Grout's actually still in the championship conversation in the top 3 as well. As the teammates fight here on screen, Grout is still right behind Peterson in the points.
Yeah, Grout only a couple points off. It's really not too much between the two of them. It's about 30 points, 33 to be exact. So one swing of a race can shift that, and so it can change very easily. Speaking of Christian Peterson, he has gotten past his teammate of Brandon Atkinson. He is now up into the 4th spot, 1 second behind the 54 of Brandon Elvis. So he's got some tracking down to do of those 2 drivers, 2nd and 3rd place, Music and Elvis. But Peterson needs to find something. He has got to find a way to maybe catch up with Terzak, or maybe he is hoping for a break of a caution and maybe hoping for some bad luck of Terzak, because at this point, it has seemed like nothing has been able to take down that magical 15.
Have you ever tried some snow?
Hey, look, all I've got right now is ice. And a lot of these drivers, they might have ice coming their way. Probably a lot of them up a little bit farther north are probably going to have some snow coming their way, but I can guarantee you right now on track, it is a cool 107 degrees. So I guarantee you, JP, there will not be any snow landing on this racetrack today.
Yes. Kind of wish iRacing did have snow for these circumstances.
That would be so awesome. Well,
You know?
and that's the thing. It would the tracks. I mean, I cannot imagine how cool they would be. You'd be able to run some blistering lap times. Speaking of track temp, by the way, JP, it has risen 20 degrees from qualifying. So what you qualified on, you started this race on, this track has gotten hot, hot, hot. And that is probably why we're seeing a lot of these drivers sliding those right rears.
And that's obviously, too, with the amount of energy on the racetrack built into it, because you're at Southern National, smaller circuit, 4/10 of a mile, like comparable to a Bristol or whatnot. You'll see these temperatures spike. The more laps you turn at such a circuit, the more that temperature spikes. By the way, battle for second is ongoing. Music is getting poked on by Elvis. Elvis just backed out a bit, though. Have been pressurizing the door of the 47 for a couple laps to the outside. Coming into play for Music.
Elvis is having a great run right now. His best finish of the season is 4th at South Boston Speedway, and he's trying to beat that, best that this evening. He's already running in a best position of the season if he were to finish in 3rd, but he is looking for even more with 2nd. Jake Grout, still the driver in the 49, currently on the move. He has gotten 7th from the 88 of Dylan Delaney. Now he is working on season 1 champion, the 118 of Jake Sylvia. So Grout, like we have said, this season he's been different. He has been slow and methodical, and there's a reason he's finished top 5 in every race this season, and he doesn't want that streak to end tonight. This would be 6th place if he can get it over the 118.
Indeed, and look at this with Grout. Now still trying to clear up by. The tough part is being able to close up the pass. It seems like a lot of these battles are starting to last multiple laps instead of just a quick couple moments. That seems these drivers really push their tires here. Oh, Sylvia nearly spun around Grout. He bobbled so much in the corner.
Sylvia trying to do what drivers on the outside have to do is, wow, he is absolutely hanging on to it. And because of that slide in 1, he's going to lose the spot to Delaney. Greggy Long, he's looking to poke his nose in there and take position as well. But Sylvia have enough momentum on the outside to fall into 8th spot. He's liking that 2nd group, and here comes Greggy Long. Looking back up at 2nd, battle for him.
Yes, indeed. We'll say, was about to say. Some of these drivers getting some warning. Sylvia just got pushed up by Long, in fact, and now he's really loose. Sylvia has gotten very loose a couple times this season. Over the course of these long runs, he is really on edge with this car. I don't know if that rear tire is going to last 40 laps the way he's driving it.
Absolutely not. He has got to calm it down. You've got to give up this spot. You've got, as Greggy Long, they're going to get physical. Greggy Long going to really move him up out of the groove. He wanted that position, and he wanted it quickly and hastily. Look at that. Sylvia sent it way down to the bottom. They're both slideways. Your tires, you keep them hot like this, they are going to blow. And Sylvia, and he's just wearing them out right now.
Yeah, drivers have just gotten a warning over the radio, though, Scott. Do not run drivers up the track to make a pass. Sylvia runs up the track himself this time, and he gets swarmed. I think Sylvia's hit the cliffing point, but the warnings haven't given out. You can't just use the door and push them up. Speaking of which, Atkins has a slide, pushes around, he nearly spins in.
Yeah, Atkins just got loose on his own, and Sylvia was right there on his outside. Battle for second, still ongoing. At this point, this is completely self-inflicted now for the 118 of Jake Sylvia. He's got to back off. As we're battling for second, there's a spinner out of turn 2. It's Millette and Sylvia.
Caution flag is out with about 37 laps to go. Sylvia gets turned around by a very far back-handed Millette. Not sure if it's on Millette or Sylvia. Watch, though, it was about 2 car lengths back, but Sylvia did try and slam the door as he was sliding.
Sylvia was just tumbling down the order, trying to get now here back inside of the 74. I imagine that would probably get deemed a racing incident just by the initial looks of it. Looks like Millette was trying to go send it down in there on the inside and take that position as well, because he was obviously looking in front of him and seeing the 118 of Sylvia struggle. But then Sylvia as well entered a little bit higher, got loose on his own. So 2 drivers both making errors and obviously come into contact. Get a great look at it here from the helicopter shot. Yeah, 9 just sending it in there a little bit tight, maybe more on Millette than it would be on Sylvia. A little bit out of control there near the center of the corner, but we'll see what race control will deem, and they have deemed an EOL for Millette.
And I believe some of the team members for them are saying, really? But you can see it from the dive. It's definitely understandable. Race control did say they warned the drivers' meeting about late dives, and they classified that as a late dive as we get ready for the restart.
Well, not the spin, but Sylvia needed a caution of some nature. He was hurting himself at that point, just was pushing it out of every single corner. Really needed to back off and let those tires cool down. I think if he would have done that, he wouldn't have lost so many spots, but you can never say. Hindsight is 20/20, but now it is the caution that Terzak didn't want. He picks the outside once again, looking to take the lead from the outside, and he will. That time he'll clear Brandon Elvis down into turn 3 this time. But this was the break that Christian Peterson needed. Maybe something to possibly change his race. He's trying to take third from the outside of Music.
Will he be able to complete the pass? A rarity in contact as Music pushed up the track. Peterson able to hold on to his line, though, despite that for the entry of 3. Clears off before. Peterson forced to send it to try and close up this fight. Nicely done by the truck chassis machine.
With the track temperature, this outside lane is working better than normal than you would have it at Southern National. More contact between Peterson and Music. Peterson still on the outside trying to clear the 47. He needs to get into third, and he needs to do it quickly. Also, look who's gotten into the top 5. 49, Jake Grout. He continues to find a way after qualifying outside of the top 10. Some race after some race. He was 8th tonight, so outside of the top 5. He keeps finding himself back in the top 5. Jake Grout, what a job he has done this season.
Nicely done. He's on the top 5 every single race this season. Christopher Shepard also trying to have a good charge. 4th of the point standings coming in. 6 top 10s, a part of his starts this season. So it's on the high side also, but it's still not done for 3rd. Peterson wasn't able to slam the door. Peterson may have had success winning with Altus Esports for the Daytona 24 this past weekend, but tonight he's having the challenge to just get a podium.
Well, and Peterson, he had a great moment there on the outside, hanging outside of Music. He had a few good laps where he really could have gotten clear of the 47, but now those right side tires are getting hot, running that outside groove, and it's really turning into the preferred groove for Music. more contact down the straightaway between the two. They are not going to give it up at this point. It is only
Trouble,
allowed-
turn 2. Millette and Sylvia have just spun each other out. Caution flag is out. Race Control had been on the radio for a lap, warning the two of them for contact fighting for the back of the field.
And that will not be looked well upon by Race Control at all. This seemed like a absolutely useless fight, about a second back from their next competitor, and contact between one another, and Sylvia sends it in down on the inside and moves the 9 up. It looked like, you know, they were both giving each other a little bit of hay there. Both were making contact, so it's not truly on one or the other, but both tempers flaring.
Yeah. Looks like they have called Sylvia to the hauler. So Jake Sylvia will have to go and visit Race Control here. So now we'll see if he's allowed to continue here. Keep in mind, Millette had also been pushed a lap down. Sylvia's been told to park it, and Sylvia just sent it to the barrels as a response. No word on Millette yet as we come up to 20 to go, and he stops it.
Yeah, Millette probably getting another EOL here for the contact between him. Obviously, looked like from that replay, you saw the 118 retaliation, but of course there was contact before, and Sylvia currently doing a bit of donuts in the pits, so not a great look for the 118 of Sylvia, but we can only talk about that for so long because I want to talk about the front of this race, the front of this pack. This has given Peterson some fresh air, and maybe to get around music this time because Elvis and Terzak themselves were getting away.
So we'll move ahead and focus on the racing. 19 laps to go. Terzak did not clear Elvis this time. Elvis timed up the restart side by side for the point, but only for so long. Terzak, to get some clearance, just needs to slam the door. Will this time.
This would be huge for Brandon Elvis. Terzak has now gotten out clear, but that does not mean that Brandon Elvis is out of it yet by any means. Still side by side for third. Once again, the same battle we saw when we got the caution. It looks like the 71 of Christian Peterson is giving it up a little bit early. It would be in his best interest to find a hole back down to the bottom and maybe work to the inside of the 47 of Music.
Give credit to Music, he's had a very solid night, but these drivers back here are still fighting for a chance to be able to get up there. Shepard yet to clear Atkinson, who's lost a lot of ground as the tires have worn. Remember, he was one of the big chargers of this race. Also down there, Delaney. You also have Wiseman, who's trying to bounce back from being one of the big savers. But the conversation's still on here. Give credit to Greg Elon. He was one of the drivers involved earlier in some trouble, but after beating the same pack, he's looking for the top 5.
7 spots gained after starting in 13th. Spinner on the front straightaway, but it looks like everybody is going to be able to keep it straight. So it was not quite a spinner, and there we go. It looked like Wiseman just spun. Yes, he gets heavy into the outside wall. Millette is there and nowhere to go. Green flag still on the racetrack as Wiseman is going to bring it into the pits. So we will remain green, and we jump back to the battle for third. So that was a bit of a hairy moment for Wiseman, and it got worse out of turn 2 for him.
Lost control right in front of Millette, and it snowballs Millette's race. Oh, wow, the battle for third is still on. Peterson for the high side, trying to prevent the car from getting loose. Music still looking for a podium, still wiggling. Now trying to bid a squeeze as Grout tries to run the high side. And Music gets loose.
Music is loose. That clears Peterson into third, and Grout almost gets it clean. It's almost a 2-for-1 loss for Music, and it is. He will lose the spot as well to the 49 of Grout, and Grout now looking low to attack the 71 of Peterson. He drifts up high, nearly wheel to wheel for them.
Door to door once again off the exit. Grout squeezing up. Peterson scraped the wall to make sure he didn't get pushed up into the wall. Now Peterson doesn't have the momentum. Grout looking for one of his best races of the season, a season high of second. He's looking for his third straight third place run if Grout can hold off the battle.
Oh, and look at this, Greggy Long is looking for his second top 10 of the season and his first top 5 of the season. He's now to the inside of Music as Music tries to battle back after getting slid. But look at what a great run for Greggy Long.
A brilliant run for one of the drivers who appeared mid-season. Came in tonight with 117 points, already a top 10 on the board. Looking to try and add a top 5. He spun earlier, as we referred to. But we're coming up to 5 laps to go. This time through, Elvis has already lost his second to this car. Kyle Turzak is on a mission. He wants to see the flag.
We wondered, since he wasn't fastest in practice, wasn't fastest in qualifying, if this track, if today at Southern National would maybe bring us something different. But Kyle Turzak continues to impress, continues to find what is needed from track to track to track to find himself and put himself over the rest and put himself in victory lane. He's already taken 6 trips and he looks to take a 7th tonight, 3 to go.
Just has to keep it clean, as I believe we've had a technical issue possibly for Music. Music just, in fact, left the racetrack, so he is done as we chug along to the end. 2 laps to go as Turzak looks to get some clean space to come up to the white. All Turzak needs to do is be able to keep it clean for 0.4 miles. White flag is out. Final time around, Kyle Turzak has been near untouchable for the past month. So far, he's been a perfect 6 for 6. How about a lucky 7 for 7? 5 straight wins. It's Kyle Turzak who gets it.
I'm running out of words for how many adjectives in a positive format that we can talk about Kyle Turzak, because he keeps on performing and he keeps on finishing. That is 7 for 7 in all races that he has started. He's only missed 2, and those were the 2 that Christian Peterson has been able to win. Peterson comes up just shy of the podium in 4th. Brandon Elvis, his best career finish in MRL. It is a 2nd place finish here at Southern National. It is Jake Grout finding himself on the podium once again. He's spoken many times in interviews how he just needs more, but hey, finishing on the podium consistently, that is an absolutely great car. And when you're competing against somebody like Turzak this season, that is a great season to have. We will be right back to go to a quick commercial break, and we will get you with the interviews of the top 3 and our final results from Southern National. Don't go anywhere.
Contact here out of turn 4.
Tries to slam the door, but they sends him right back up the racetrack.
Big moment for Boney between him and Dexter. It's Ryan Kuhn yet again out of turn number 4. He's going to win for a 2nd time in the Misfit Touring Series. And it's all about Christian Peterson out front. 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 4 times he's finished runner-up. But tonight, it's the first time win here in the Touring Series.
Christian Peterson, after 17 races, finally gets it done.
That tech shed going to be very busy tonight with some drivers on tempers, but the race itself was fantastic. If you're a fan of Kyle Turzak, yet again in victory lane for the 5th time unofficially, Elvis in 2nd with Grout in the top 3 here today. We'll be speaking with those drivers in just a second here on V-Speed. Christian Peterson finished off in 4th. Look who finished in 5th though. Chase Hale was down pit road getting repairs at one point. He sneaks away with a top 5 away from Greggy Long. Christopher Shepard wasn't able to get out from his starting spot at the end despite being the fastest in practice. Then Delaney, Atkinson, and Atkins are your top 10 Scott.
In 11th, it was the 71 of Thomas Dean. Then in 12th, 2 laps down, it was Aiden Millette, who tried to keep it clean as most he could tonight, but just got involved in a couple incidents. And it was Radley Music unfortunately disconnecting in the last couple of laps when he was running in the top 5, finishes 13th. And Wiseman, we saw that late spin late on, and it did not bring out a caution as he got it back to pit road, but he finishes 14th. 15th for Jake Sylvia, and Dustin Smith did not start the race but was giving drivers great advice in the chat. And he will be unofficially 16th even though he didn't start the race. But JP, I send it to you to get to talk to our winner. I've talked to Kyle Terzak so much, I think you ought to talk to him.
Yes, indeed. It's Kyle Terzak's turn to speak for Victory Lane. Kyle, yet again in Victory Lane. How would you describe this race compared to some of the others, a part of your 5-race win streak?
Honestly, this one was it was very different than the other ones. I feel like the other ones I kind of came late and you know, charged for the field at the end, but that one I kind of got out there pretty early, and you know, when everybody's racing everything, I just had clean air and I was saving. So I don't want to say it was easy because you know things in this league is never easy, but you know that was pretty enjoyable to see. You know, Elvis and Music had a pretty good race going back there, and I knew that as long as I just save my stuff, I should be fine towards the end. And you know, those late cautions kind of set us back a little bit, but you know, we got the job done.
And obviously, with the way tonight also went with the racetrack, it was about conservation of the tires, though. What was that balance like in terms of making sure you saved the tires for that long run that impacted how strong of a run you did have? Because majority of the drivers were spinning off the right rear. You weren't.
Yeah, honestly, I thought we were going to be on the right river a lot more than that. The track temp was really high tonight, and I honestly tried my hardest to save, which I feel like I did pretty good. But you know, I had to keep up with everyone and you know, maintain the gap that I had. But I had 60% right rear, so you know, we weren't using it too bad for what the track temp was. So that was honestly really surprising to me, and that just shows you know how much of a good turning and fast race car we had tonight. You know, it could get off the bottom really good, and didn't have to go up top unless it was for the restarts there. And you know, we didn't really have to battle anyone. I want to say, you know, Music at the beginning of we had a battle for the lead right there, so that was fun. And then, you know, getting that clean air, I think that's just the goal, especially here at Southern National. Southern National is all about clean air, but yeah, wherever we go next, I feel like that isn't a clean air racetrack here. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm sorry.
Irwindale.
Irwindale, yeah, that's not going to be clean air. It's just whoever can throw the last slide job. So that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you expect that to go with the amount of sliders potentially?
I expect it to be a good race. First off, I know that Irwindale in the past has caused really good racing and Misfit just in general with the summer series and whatnot. But you know, I know that you know Christian Peterson's pretty fast there, and a lot of guys are fast there. So it's definitely going to be a tall order. But I feel like everybody here at our Kim's Out Shop and on everyone on those 15 gotta you know we gotta lock in and continue this championship journey.
Any show that you like to give here tonight?
Yeah, first off, Adams for putting this on. You guys for the broadcast, good as always. Our Camp Sub Shop for everything they do for me. To House Shop Photography for best iRacing photos. Corey Buddy Raps, Matthew Designs, Misfit Productions. Everybody's watching back at home. Terzak Racing on Facebook.
Congratulations on the win once again. You're 7 for 7 this season.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Kyle Terzak continuing what's been a dominating season for him. Brandon Elvis comes up second. He's with Scott.
Well, Brandon Elvis, I'm glad to get to talk to you. This is your first time getting to talk to us in the booth with your career best finish on a merely quiet night for you.
Yeah, man. We've been running TMSS here pretty regular. Pretty good here at Southern National. Excuse me. just not good enough tonight. Used up my stuff a good bit trying to race with Riley there, trying to get by him, and shout out to him for being able to hold me off as long as he did. But I just think I used it up a little too much, and Terzak was able to just kind of stay out front. And I don't know if he was necessarily saving that much, but just being out front and controlling the race, he was able to have a lot better tires than I did there at the end.
You've had a great past two races. Obviously, it wasn't the finish that you wanted from the LA Coliseum, but you were up front fighting for quite a while within that top five. But what has it been about these past 2 weeks? Is there something that is lighting a fire up under you? And I imagine, obviously, here at Southern National, y'all been running this track week after week after week and just learning the little nuances about it.
Yeah, man. I think the last 2 weeks, my luck is kind of shifting back towards the better. I haven't really, I don't think I've ever had really any luck in this series at all, to be honest with you. But it's just being at the right place at the right time. I know we're bringing good race cars to the sim when we come, and just keep building on that, and hopefully we can get out there and start battling for a win.
With you being 14th in the series standings, what are some of those goals? Is it now to try to get that win with you finishing second place, like you just said?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just missing the first part of the season there, and the goal was always to just come out and win races. That was all there really was. There wasn't really, I haven't really been points racing. I know my buddy Christian Peterson and Jake Grout there. They've got a good battle going on, and Grout keeps getting better finishes, so he's probably pulling away from them a little bit in the points now. But they they've been battling hard. So just trying to race up front and try to win, and just kind of be respectful of the guys racing 4 points, because I know that means a lot to them.
Absolutely. That's a great mindset to have. Anyone you like to thank tonight?
Yeah, just shout out to Coastal Performance setups there, and we've been doing good with that. Burial's Performance and Fab, Chestnut Hill Restaurant, Coleman Design for painting these good-looking race cars for us. Shout out to the Throckmorton family. I know they're watching, so I appreciate them tuning in and all they do for me. And yes, mom, dad, my wife, everybody's tuned in. Thanks to you guys for putting this still on, and thanks to Kyle and the guys for putting the series on.
Well, Brandon, congratulations on your best career finish.
Thank you.
Brandon Elvis brings it home second in what was an excellent race for him. It was not it was not a miss that he was up in that top three all evening long. It wasn't a miss as well for the driver of the number 49 to be in the top three as well. He finishes in third place for the third week in a row, and he's with JP.
Yes, indeed, Jake. How would you describe tonight as you're able to fight your way to another top three finish for the points?
Yeah, I just lost track position early and couldn't get it back in time to battle those two for the win, unfortunately. I felt like I have a car to do it, just too late.
How tricky has it been throughout these races to try and make the charges you've been having to make in the later stages throughout the past few weeks?
It's just hard to do it clean. I was trying to pass Silvio for probably 40 laps and just didn't want to touch him. Same with CP and Riley. Just had to wait for my chance for them two to fall off and get by. I mean, these tracks have not been easy to pass the last couple of weeks with the weather and the lines changing. So
So, speaking of the lines changing, Irwindale's up next. Now, Kyle Terzak's expecting slide jobs. What are you expecting?
it's gonna look like a dirt race. I mean, we're just gonna be throwing sliders from 18 car lengths back and probably wrecking half the field when we do it. But it's gonna be something. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of wrecked race cars. I feel like it's not a good track for these cars, but
Well, on the bright side, I guess, to your point on that, the track no longer exists in real life. On that note, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
yeah, I gotta thank AW Clark Builders, JNS Sales and Service, White Heating, Curly Transport, Arcam Setup Shop, Wits Automotive, you guys for broadcasting, Kyle Adams, Gramps, and all the ones in the garage watching.
Congratulations on the podium once again, Jake.
Thank you.
Jake Grout. Seems like he wants a lot more, Scott, to say the very least. Three straight
He does.
top threes, and he made it clear with his thoughts there.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating season, although, I mean, one of his best. He had a great season, too, was in the fight for the championship, but this has definitely been his most consistent season, but he's just been stuck in that third place position, and I hear his frustration because you're obviously getting good finishes, but you know that you can get more. And talking about Irwindale, I think Irwindale has produced some of the best races here in the Misfit Touring Series. I hope that it's not an absolute wreck mania, and I don't think it will be. I think these drivers have really putting their belts on, they put their racing shoes on and their gloves on, and fought well when we've gone to Irwindale before. It's very easy to look at that place and say it's going to be a mess, but we have had some excellent races from the inner circle and the outer circle each time we've gone there.
Should be a fun time on the 31st once again here on V-Speed. On that note, just about time to say goodbye. I'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage of the Misfit Touring Series, again presented by RaceMRL.com. Once again, for my colleague tonight, Scott Shive, for a producer, Morton Cook, for a camera producer, and Dougie Beard, Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching V-Speed's coverage of MTS. We'll see you next time from California.